Have you ever felt scared? No matter how equipped you were, no matter how much preparation you had, you're receiving confirmation after confirmation, right? You're getting signs that it's time. You know you're supposed to be doing this. But somehow, watch this, you still feel stuck. You still feel hesitant. You still feel fearful to actually get it done. Is that you? Because if that's you, I promise you, you're not alone. I've been right there with you. And for so long, I thought something was wrong with me, y'all. I thought maybe I was procrastinating because I wasn't disciplined enough, right? Or I wasn't motivated enough, or I wasn't confident enough. But what I eventually realized was this. Watch this. I wasn't afraid of starting. I was afraid of what starting would need from me. What's up for real? Vibes via dialogue. I'm taking mental notes like it's a travel log. When we converse, healing, speaking blessings fall. We telling truth here. This space embracing all. I wanna laugh. I wanna see how far we grow. I wanna listen. I wanna learn from what you know. We never force. Engage while conversations flow. What's up for real? Welcome to the show. What's up, y'all? What's up for real? Welcome to the very first episode of the What's Up for Real podcast, where we keep it honest, we keep it human, and we keep it heart-centered. I am your host, Sarah Jean, and I welcome you to my space for truth-telling, y'all. Soul sharing, real conversations that leave you feeling seen, challenged, and inspired. Y'all, listen, we are on the last day of 2025. This year has stretched me in ways I didn't expect. Right? I didn't do everything perfectly. I ended up losing my job. I fell short of some goals I had set for myself. I walked away from relationships that just wasn't good for me. And my health, it taught me that ignoring myself always comes at a cost. And as I was prepping to drop my podcast, I kept asking myself, right, how do I want to finish? I didn't want to wait for 2026 to start, y'all. But even with all that transpired, I still had the power to make a choice on how I wanted to end my year. So here I am. Here I am. Welcome to my space. I'm nervous a little bit, but that's all right because my vibe attracts my tribe. And I'm excited to vibe with my tribe, y'all. Listen, I almost didn't start this podcast. I almost didn't start it because I was that afraid. Now, mind you, I wanted to do this in the beginning of 2025, but something just kept holding me back. And that something was fear, right? I said it. It was fear. I had everything I needed. I had the space. I had the equipment, the topics, the ideas. I had the voice. But for some reason, I just couldn't bring myself to press record. I couldn't do it. Now, it wasn't because I wasn't capable, but because starting something meant I could no longer hide, right? Starting something meant accountability. It meant obedience. Starting meant I had to show up as me without any excuses. And that kind of fear, let's keep it real, it could be a little intimidating. But here's what I realized. It also means you're standing at the edge of something that matters. I was standing at the edge of something that matters, something that's important, something that's bigger than me. And while prepping for this episode, I learned fear is not a flaw. It's a function. And psychologists explain that fear exists to protect, not to sabotage. So when you're about to start something new, especially something meaningful, your brain reads uncertainty as potential risk. And even if the risk isn't physical, your nervous system, it doesn't know the difference. So when you're about to launch something or step into visibility or change identity, start a new relationship, move to a new city, start a new job, take responsibility, or just move towards purpose, your brain goes, all right, hold on. This is unfamiliar. Let's slow this down a little bit. But in all reality, that's just fear doing its job. I know this is the last day of 2025. And a lot of y'all are like, all right, tomorrow I'm starting fresh. This is the new year. I get it, and I love that for you. But you have some that's still scared, all right? Equipped but scared. So I want to give y'all 5 tips that help me finally do it, even while still trying to overcome my fear. But before we hop into those 5 tips, please click that subscribe button. Go tell everybody about my podcast, because the more and more we connect with each other, the more we get to heal together, y'all. The more we become enlightened and we get better as a whole. Now, why starting felt so much scarier than staying stuck? So here's something powerful I learned that psychology teaches, and I want y'all to write this down. The brain prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar growth. You ever broke up with an ex and you went on to something new, but as soon as that something new ain't go as planned, your immediate reaction was to go back to that ex? All because it was familiar. Because even if where you are is uncomfortable, your brain knows how to survive it. It knows how to survive the familiar. But we know, right? We know it ain't no growth in that, right? So starting something new can be extremely intimidating. It introduces you to things like unpredictability, visibility, evaluation, loss of control. But fear often isn't about failure. It's about, what if I succeed and I can't go back? Like, some of us really be scared of success. That's a real thing. What if I'm seen differently? What if I outgrow who I've been? You ever outgrew somebody and you felt bad about it? Those are very deep questions and very human. So here's number 1. I stopped waiting to feel ready. I stopped waiting to feel ready. Let me say this plainly. Feeling ready is not a requirement for starting. For a long time, y'all, I told myself I needed one more plan. I send me one more sign, God. One more confirmation. But what I really needed was movement. I realized I had already been equipped. I had already been prepared. I had already been given the vision. What I was waiting on emotionally, watch this, God had already handled it spiritually. And here's the truth. Definitely write this one down, y'all. Obedience rarely feels comfortable before it feels rewarding. The Bible doesn't say walk where you feel confident, right? It says walk by faith. So I stopped waiting to feel ready, and I decided to trust that readiness would meet me on the other side of my obedience, right? Readiness will meet me on the other side of my obedience. 2, I normalized fear instead of fighting it, right? From a faith perspective. Now this one, y'all, this one changed everything for me. This one really got me together, because I used to think faith meant I shouldn't feel afraid. Like if you really trust, if I really trusted God, fear wouldn't show up. But that's not biblical, and it's definitely not realistic. Faith isn't the absence of fear. Faith is choosing God in the presence of fear, right? Because fear gonna show up because you care. Fear will show up because purpose is attached. Fear will show up because stepping out means, listen, you gotta step away from control. And control, right? There go that word again. It feels like safety sometimes. But God kept reminding me, you can have control or you can have growth, but you usually can't have both. Choose one. So instead of rebuking my fear, I acknowledged it. And I said, okay, God, okay, I'm scared, but I trust you more than I trust this feeling. I remember that God didn't give me the vision without also giving me the grace to carry it. And if he called me to it, he already accounted my nerves, right? My doubts and my learning curves. Faith didn't make the fear disappear. It just made the fear relevant. You could feel fear and still be faithful. You could be unsure and still be obedient. You could be scared and still be called. Number 3, I stopped overthinking and I set a deadline, right? All right. Listen, I told myself in the beginning of 2025 that I was starting my podcast. I'm a photographer and I'm a videographer by trade. I've been shooting now almost 13 years. So I was already 85% equipped with what I needed to start my podcast. I had the cameras. I had purchased the mics. I was already in my studio of 6 years. So therefore I had the space. Y'all, I'm literally on social media telling all my followers to go start your podcast. Like, I had to wait to see someone take initiative before I did so, right? I went out and purchased all my furniture, designed my podcast logo, updated my lighting kit. I wrote a whole song for my intro. I came in and would do practice segments. I even brainstormed about potential people I love to interview. I did everything. I just had to start. Where was my confidence? All I had to do was start. But it was my overthinking that almost cost me my obedience. I kept replaying scenarios in my head, asking questions like, what if it doesn't land? Because everybody got a podcast, right? What if nobody listen to mine? What if I mess up? But overthinking is just fear trying to stay productive and stay in control. There go that word again, control. So I did something simple but yet powerful. I picked a date and I committed to it. Not when I felt confident, not when everything felt perfect. I gave myself a deadline because deadlines turn intentions into action. They force you to move. They force you to move before fear can renegotiate. And once I had that date, I stopped asking, should I? Right? Should I? And I start asking, how do I show up? God, just show me this. Tell me, how do I show up? How do I do this? How do I press record and move forward like I said I was going to do? Because sometimes the breakthrough isn't in the planning, it's in a decision. 4, I reminded myself I was called to do it. I reminded myself I was called to do it, y'all. Whenever doubt started talking loud, I went back to the reason I started in the first place, my why. Now, this wasn't about popularity. It wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about sounding like anybody else, right? This was about my obedience. This was about truly tapping into my gift that could help heal, right? Enlighten, change lives. This was about my voice. God is not going to place anything on your heart for no reason, right? He's not going to trust you with the vision by accident. It's about me being available for a good cause. When I focused on impact instead of insecurity, fear lost its grip. It lost its grip because that's what purpose does. It has a way of quieting the noise when you return to it. Your calling. Your calling will always make more sense when you look at who is meant to help, not just how it makes you feel. And 5, I gave myself grace to be human. Now, this one was big because I'm an overthinker, right? I'm naturally really hard on myself and I'm a creative at my core. So I'm a hard critic towards anything I touch. And sometimes it'll hold me up. So this one helped me a lot. I had to release perfection, y'all. I had to release it. I had to surrender. I had to lift my hands and go, all right, Lord. All right, I'm all in. Release the comparison, release the pressure to have it all figured out. Grace allowed me to start messy without quitting early, right? I realized God wasn't asking me to be flawless. He was asking me to be faithful. I didn't need the perfect words. I didn't need the perfect flow. I just needed a willing heart and a yes. Because growth happens in motion, not in mastery. And once I gave myself permission to be human, I finally gave myself permission to begin. All right, just start it. Just do it. So if you're listening and you feel stuck, maybe it's not laziness. Maybe it's not lack of discipline. Maybe it's not even fear. Maybe it's the weight of the calling trying to stretch you, trying to call you, trying to move you. And if that's you, I want you to know this. Listen, I want you to know this. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. So go start. Go make it happen. Move forward. Even if it's a little scary. Do it scared, y'all. Do it scared. Walk into your 2026 and believe that you have a message. Believe that your voice matters. Believe that your gift was never meant to stay hidden. Because God honors obedience. He honors your faith. And He will meet you in your movement. And listen, I truly believe you'll blow your own mind. You will blow your own mind. But it won't happen if you stay stuck at that starting line. You gotta start. Like, this feel so good, y'all. Like, I've always wanted my own podcast. I always wanted to build my own community. You gotta start. Look, I did. And if this episode spoke to you, if it encouraged you, challenged you, or gave you that little push you needed, do me a favor. Watch this. Like, share, and subscribe to the What's Up For Real podcast. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what part resonated with you the most. And until next time, stop waiting. Start moving. Honor the nudge. It's there for a reason. Besides obedience, open doors, fear never will. So this podcast, this is how I'm ending my year, and this is how I'm walking into my next year. Honest, anchored, and unafraid. And if you stay with me, we're going deeper. Thank you for joining me.